It's a traditional thing. It's a celebration.
Yeah, I think that Dutch dance has history. It's really interesting. It was actually started by one woman at Holland High School with one group. So it's kind of funny. The dance was choreographed by her, and we've made some additions and changes, but it has been around for, the Tulip Time Festival is 75 years old. So I think that, it just speaks volumes about, but the dance, like I said earlier, is divided into three parts. There's a boy and a girl dancer. And a lot of times we have girls that are boys, but we have had boys in Zealand that dance. Didn't really catch on huge, but we've had some boys. It's not a very difficult dance. There's a lot of little steps and a lot of changing of formation. We do the actual windmill, so we make the shape of a windmill during the dance. We do the step brush hops, like we're going out in the field. So if you took the dance, you can look at different parts of the Netherlands, like what people are doing. Because people actually wear wooden shoes in the Netherlands, so they're in the gardens and stuff. So we wear wooden shoes when we dance. So there are parts, if you know that history, that's you can see where that would be part of what people would do with wooden shoes. So I would say first and foremost, the hardest part of my job was teaching the dance. Like I said, that there's three parts of the Dutch dance, three different sections, and we would start practicing in January, and then our dress rehearsals were around the park in Holland at the end of April, and we'd usually meet twice a week as a whole group, and then there were other extra practices. So that was a big piece. The other big piece of my job was the scheduling of Tulip time. So like every time we danced somewhere, we had to put it on the schedule, like you're going to the corner of 12th and River, or you're going to be at when you have 16 groups and you're scheduling them all, that's a lot of work.
I feel like it started in January and went all the way up until Tulip time. And it was every night. Yeah, it was pretty intense. It was like every night for like 2.5 hours. But there was like a break in the middle. But
I think it's just back to our heritage. Each costume represents a different province in the Netherlands. So there's like Friesland and Walcheren and so Marken, so that's kind of fun too, because the girls actually can learn about their providence. Their costume matches that. I think, and like I said, we had kids who couldn't afford the costume, that we had people that would donate to have their costume made for them. And we had like probably half dozen women in the community of Zealand that were, our sew people. So we would just, say like, who wants a costume? And, this person kind of specializes in this costume. Sometimes, which was really fun, was their moms made their costumes or their grandmas. So that was kind of a neat thing too. And I know that some of the girls that danced for me wore the same costumes that their mom did.
My grandma actually made my costume. There's first on the bottom a petticoat, and then your skirt. And then you have a really thick apron on top of that. And then you had your shirt, which luckily you only had to wear one layer of the shirt. And I feel like there was like a bib that you buttoned on. And then you had to wear a hat with another hat on top. I think the most grueling part of the costume is definitely that you had to wear like 9 pairs of socks in the shoes, or else you get really bad blisters. My shoe never went flying off, but one time I skipped a layer of socks, and like, I'm not exaggerating, like you think it's just one layer, like it's not gonna matter. No, like I literally had like terrible blisters all on top of my toes because like it was rubbing too much. Like
the actual dance was like 18 minutes, so that's a pretty long time. And then you add in that they're in wooden shoes, and then you add in that they're in a costume. So if it's humid, or there's all those pieces of the puzzle. So, and one thing that I was always really proud of us in Zealand that we did, and that was probably because it was near and dear to my heart, was we did nursing homes. So a lot of people that couldn't get to Dutch dance, we brought Dutch dance to them. So I'd take 1 or 2 groups, and we'd go dance at the nursing homes, and then all the kids would go back to the rooms and show them their costumes. And to be really honest with you, that was one of my favorite parts of Dutch dance, because these old ladies would be like, oh, I was a dancer, and they tell you that their name of their costume. And I think one of the things I enjoyed the most about Dutch dance was that anybody could do it, and I mean that with utmost respect. Like I think sometimes dance caters to just kids who are athletic or a coordinator or whatever, and I think for Dutch dance, we had some kids that might not have fit in any other dance group, so that was a really cool, special part of Dutch dance. So, but I think that there's something special about giving back to the community and being part of the community that you always remember. So I think that that's a really special part of Dutch dance.